Hi, Pablo.
Hey, hey.
How are you?
Good. Better now. How are you?
Huh, good. I'm gonna make you the at least the co-host to start with, if that's okay.
The co-host. Yes, that's good.
And then I'll make you the full host. I just in case like people come on and like they're in the waiting room or anything, or if they're talking, I can mute them and stuff. But yeah.
Especially Renee.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
need that
I'm
mute
like,
button for Renee.
Yeah, me. And I'm like, wait a second. At least we spell our names the same.
True.
We spell it correctly.
Thank you. Do you have an accent over yours? I think I asked you once.
Yeah, you did. I never got that fancy consistently.
Yeah.
So I guess the answer is no.
That's fair.
I am so excited about this class
Yeah.
Yay.
because I know you are the man when it comes to expireds and FSBOs.
I'm pretty good at them, I'd like to think.
Good.
Let me get my slides up.
Now, did you do that before you joined United Home Group or?
For sale by owners and expireds?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I've been doing them a long time.
Oh, good.
Okay, let's try this again. There we go. You guys should be able to see my screen.
Yep.
Perfect.
Thank you.
I have the chat up. I'm teaching from a guest office today, so. All right, so as we wait for everybody to get on, is there specifically anything about FSBOs or expireds that you guys wanted me to talk about or cover?
Now, you don't call them like at 7 o'clock in the morning, do you?
Oh, we'll talk about that.
I thought so.
Yeah. I have some pretty different methods of getting in front of for sale by owners that most people won't do or choose not to do.
Well, I'll tell you what, Dennis, who just got on the phone or on the call, Dennis will do whatever you tell him to do, as long as you tell him it's successful.
I love it. Dennis, you're my kind of guy.
Yes, I am.
All right, I'm just gonna finish getting set up here.
Good to see you, Dennis.
Good to see you as well.
I better have seen you, Josh.
Hello. All right. Give everybody 20 more seconds because we know all agents show up right on time.
Consistently.
They don't call it agent standard time for nothing, right?
I respect the fact that you were going to start on time for those that showed up on time.
Absolutely. And I'm going to ask you guys so that I can focus on the material. If one of you guys can monitor the chat, and if you guys see a question come up that I'm not answering, can you guys just give me a shout? Or just say, hey, Pablo, look at the chat. Or don't tell me to look at the chat. Just tell me what the question was in the chat.
I'll try my best. And if anybody else can help me simultaneously, because I have a call in a minute also, but I will be here as much as possible.
Awesome.
Pablo, I would be
appreciate you.
happy to do that for you.
Thank you. You are now in charge of the chat.
I am the chat charger.
And the
Yes.
admitter. Can you admit people or no?
I can admit people. I have it up so that I can see people coming in, but
Okay.
I can't admit people and look at the chat and look at you guys and look at the material.
Not a multitasker, huh? I'm just kidding.
Nah, I'm not.
Do
My
it
wife gives me crap about it all the time. So it is 1 o'clock and we had an appointment at 1 o'clock, so we are going to get going. So thank you guys so much for coming in. Today we're going to talk about something I love to talk about, which is for sale by owners and expired listings. So all of you guys should have received a PDF version of this. Looks like this. If you have it, pull it up because we will be referencing it quite often. And that's kind of where we're going to go through. So if you actually flip to page 4 of your materials, it's where we're going to get started. And if you guys don't know me, by the way, my name is Pablo Vadillo. I am the area director for United Home Group. We are the 3rd largest expansion team inside of Keller Williams. Our region does about 40 to 45 transactions every month, and our nationwide team over the last 3 months has averaged over 100 transactions a month. So one of the first things that we talk about in our team, and one of the fastest ways really and least expensive ways of generating business, is for sale by owners and expired listings. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. And if you flip to page 4 in your book, we're going to be talking about where you guys are today. So if some of you guys have started doing some lead generation, some prospecting around for sale by owners, I'd like to hear about your experience, what you guys are going through. If some of you guys are thinking about calling for sale by owners and expired listings and haven't yet made the decision to make the jump, I'd love to hear your thoughts and what's causing some of those hesitancies. And yeah, let's dive in right there. So I'll open it up.
I'm actually looking into.
Yeah, I've done it in the past. Oh, did I step on somebody?
Go for it, Josh, and then Dennis, I'll have you jump in.
I've done for sale by owners. I've not called expireds before. I've had mixed results with calling, but when a couple of years ago, I'd go to an open house, and I did get a for sale by owner to convert that way. The main thing was because I lived right across the street from them. So, but yeah, I haven't had the expireds, and that is going to be my focus here, and or it has been, because we just relocated back to Santa Cruz from Montana. So I don't have a sphere here like my wife does, but it's just, you know, the story that I'm telling myself in the head, the monkey mind, the resistance. Been working through that, and I'm notorious of getting ready to get ready.
Anyone else in that boat? Dennis, I know you had something you wanted to add.
Yes, well, I'm very interested in, pursuing for sale by owners. I haven't started making phone calls yet, but I am interested and ready to start making those calls.
Awesome. So when we were talking about for sale by owners and expireds, and we're looking at where you are today, I want you to We're in October. We're halfway through October, right? I know it feels like 2020 part 8 at this point. We're getting into business planning season for 2021 and beyond, right? And one of the things I always talk to people about is doing an audit of your business and taking a look back and looking at all of the transactions you've had over the last 12 months and going back and saying, okay, where did these come from? Was it a sphere of influence? Was it somebody I met at the grocery store? Was it an agent to agent referral? Was it a for sale by owner? Was it an expired? And what I want you to look at is, do I have one that's really, really strong, that is really the biggest part of my business? What is number 2? And is there a number 3? And if there really isn't a number 3, for sale by owners and expired can be a really, really strong hold for you. Obviously, we always want to start with our database. We want to start with the people that know us, like us, and trust us. And at the same time, we know that the fastest place to find a business are for sale by owners and expireds. And the reason being is, for sale by owners have one hand in the air saying, I'm motivated, I want to sell my house. And expireds have two hands in the air, one saying, I want to sell my house, and the second one saying, I'm willing to pay a commission, right? So we're going to talk about how do we start adding more income sources, more revenue sources to your business. And when we're talking about working with for sale by owners and expired guys, I want you to think about it like this. What would your business look like if you added 3 to 4 more transactions this year that came from a for sale by owner or an expired, on top of what you're already doing, right? Because that's the goal of this class, is to take what you're already doing and supplement it, right? Not to detract from what you're doing. It's to, hey, I'm great at getting referrals from my sphere of influence. Awesome. How do we continue to get great referrals from your sphere of influence? And let's add another sale a quarter, another 2 sales a quarter, another sale a month, from something that's going to be predictable and something that you're going to be able to forecast. So any challenges that you guys are facing with your lead generation and anything like that before we dive in?
One of the comments from from Sam is that there isn't very many, there's very few expireds in the 408 area code.
Yep. So this is really the practice ground. And what I mean by that is, since 2012, I want to say, is really where we stopped seeing a lot of expireds on the market, and we started seeing it kind of dwindle, because as the market goes up, houses sell, there's going to be a lot less expireds, right? Expired show up when uncertainties show up. Expired show up when the market starts to shift. So Gary always talks about preparing not for the market that you're in, but preparing for the market that you're going into. Expireds are the market that we're going into. The effect of forbearance, the effect of people putting their payments on hold, that's going to have a huge effect on the real estate market. And we're going to start seeing that effect start showing up in the form of for sale by owners, in the form of expired listings, right? Because as people can't make payments or stop making payments, their houses start going up for sale, inventory starts showing up, prices drop, right? You guys all with me on that? So there's not a lot of expired listings on the market yet. That's why we need to start prepping for them now. This is our practice ground, so that 12 months, 18 months, whenever the other shoe drops, boom, we're ready. Cool? Anything else we want to chat about before we jump in?
No.
All right. So I know we have 2 hours carved out for this class. My goal is to really get through the material in about 75 minutes to 90 minutes and give us really an opportunity to chat a little bit. And if you guys want to see a live example of calls, I'm happy to do that as well. I do have my Mojo dialer and everything dialed in and ready to go. So I always find that watching and doing it firsthand is a lot more practical than just teaching them from the book. So if you guys don't have anything else, we'll dive right on in. So yeah, you guys, most of you guys arrived on time. Thank you guys. The guys that didn't arrive on time, it's okay. I still love you. You guys are here. Thank you guys for being here. Get comfortable, not too comfortable. I don't want to see you laying in bed. You know, we all know like Zoom etiquette. Crazy story. My wife is an attorney. She actually had a guy who left his camera on while he went to cuddle his dog in bed during a live deposition. This is live in court, people. Like, my class isn't that serious, but I still don't, you know, we don't want to see you cuddling your dog. I cuddle my dog, so no judgments. We just don't, you know, not here. Respect each other. There's no stupid questions, even though you guys might think it. There's no dumb questions. I don't think there's stupid questions. So please, I'm an open book. If something is burning or you guys have a question, this time is really dedicated for you and for you guys to get the most value from this. It's not about me and pushing an agenda. So whatever you guys, questions you guys have, my focus is entirely on you. And then let's have fun. So you guys are close. You guys are close. So you guys have gone through validity and positioning, right? Something we all kind of struggle with at first. It's like, okay, I'm a real estate agent. Somebody gave me a piece of paper that says I can go sell things. What does that mean? We talked about prospecting. We've talked about marketing, leveraging a database, working with Mets, farming, open houses. And today we're going to be talking about for sale by owners and expireds. Now, what's really cool is that if you've been following and really doing the steps up until this point, you're starting to see that for sale by owners and expireds can almost be used as a placeholder for motivated sellers. So what I mean by that is we teach a class with United Home Group called 7 Steps to 10 Listings a Month. And one of those steps is getting in front of a for sale by owner or getting in front of an expired door every single day. And one of the very first things that we talk about is expireds for sale by owners. That's a place filler for a placeholder for somebody that's motivated, for somebody that we know has either wanted to sell in the last 90 days or is looking to sell in the next 90 days, right? That's where we're playing, and that is motivation, and that's who we want to focus on. So understand for sale by owners and expireds, the ideas that we're going to be talking about, the concepts that we're going to be talking about today can almost be interchangeable with a motivated seller. Are you guys with me on that? I see some head nods. Dennis says yes. All right. Perfect. So things that'll make this a great training experience is us hanging out, making sure we're all having fun. So Josh, I know you mentioned you'd gone after for sale by owners in the past, some expireds. Has anyone else had any experience with for sale by owners or any experience with expireds? I'm seeing some head shakes. No. Okay. So I want to tell you guys a little case study about Pam Ranella. Pam Ranella is a brand new agent. She's been in the business all of 7 months now. Yeah, she started with us back in March. She works out of the Walnut Creek Market Center. And Pam, in the last 60 days, has taken 3 for sale by owner listings. Now, I say in the last 60 days because before that 60 days, Pam would not even pick up the phone or dare to call a for sale by owner. And in the last 60 days, she's listed 3 and she's already sold 2.
Nice.
So what I want you guys to get out of this story is that, yes, there are people like me who are out there who have worked for sale by owners and expireds in the past. Just because there's experienced agents out there doesn't mean that you as a new agent or whatever level of experience you are, doesn't mean that you can't get the business.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, guys, write this down. I don't need a whole lot of business. Right? You think about it, you think about our price point.
Right.
We really don't need a whole lot of business. Even if you think about like doing something crazy in our market, that would be like 100 transactions.
Mm-hmm.
100 transactions, you really think about the Bay Area real estate, that's really not a whole lot in the overall scheme of things.
Right.
Right? So get out of your head and thinking, I need to win every single one. No, you just need to win one a month. You just need to win one a week. Right? Whatever is appropriate to you, whatever is appropriate to the goals that you're setting for yourself for this coming year. And get out of your way, right? Most of these people just, they want to know that you care and they want to be heard. So who are for sale by owners? Now, most people think for sale by owners eat their young. They don't. Some of them probably do. They actually don't. Most for sale by owners are people who are really just looking to save on paying the commission, right? As somebody who has prospected and called hundreds of for sale by owners, number one thing they say is, oh yeah, no, I just want to save the commission. Just bring me a buyer, right? So when we know this is going to be the answer that they're going to give us, what are some things that we can do ahead of time to mitigate that response or get ahead of that response?
Well, have scripts ready for their objections, you know.
Okay, such as?
Such as, you know, well, letting them know why saving yourself on commission isn't truly a savings. You know, one, informing them on the how much information and how much it takes to actually sell a home. You know, just approaching them and providing the information for free. Just let them know, you know, physically letting them see how much it takes. That could start turning the gears in their mind. Like, well, maybe I should get an agent. You know, you seem very competent. You know.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you, Dennis. One of the things we're going to be talking a lot about with for sale by owners and expireds is the V word, value.
Value. Yeah, because price comes into question when there's an absence or perceived absence of value.
Yep. In the
So if you
absence
can
of
find,
value, price becomes a determining factor. Absolutely, Josh. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, so and building on what Dennis said, you know you're going to hit those objections, so you have those laid out, but also really being clear on the value that you're providing versus what they're not getting by doing it themselves.
Renee?
Well, I was just going to say, one of the things you can say is that statistics show that people who use an agent sell their home for 10% over what a for sale by owner normally does.
Yeah. So write this down. Know your stats. Know your value, right? So if you know that your average list to sales price is 115%, you could use that. Hey, Mr. Seller, I can definitely appreciate you want to save the commission. And if I could actually net you more money, would you be curious into hearing how I could do that? Sure, great. So The National Association of Realtors tells us that most for sale by owners that successfully sell actually end up selling at 88% list to sales price. Can you afford to lose 12% on the value of your home? Now, Mr. Seller, would you be surprised to learn that in my track record and my history, sellers that work with me average 115% list to sales price? So when we're actually talking about 6%, we're actually talking about netting you an additional 11% based on my history. Now, what I would love to do is sit down with you for a quick 5-15 minutes and just show you what my team does differently to help people like you get those results. Right? So I'm just going back and I'm showing them like, hey, I understand where you're coming from. Write these words down. You're not alone. Ooh, that's such a good like objection overturn. Like, I understand how you feel. You're not alone. Automatically just brings you around onto their side. Renee, I see you took yourself off mute.
Well, one of the things I thought the objection I thought I would give before everybody else does, well, I don't have any stats. I haven't had any listings. I haven't sold anything. Anybody agree with that one? And I know
Ellen?
you've got to come back for that, so.
I do. Use the office stats.
Okay.
Right? So our office, when working with sellers, has an average of 98% list to sales price, 103% list to sales price. Guys, most of our offices and most agents right now have a positive over 100% list to sales price because the market has been so hot, right? And the market has naturally been appreciating. And all of us agents, me including, I have a listing coming up that we're naturally listing it slightly under market, expecting it to sell over, right?
Right.
Sellers don't really need to realize all of this. All they need to know is that when you sell it on yourself, the price that you list on your home, people are reducing it by 12%. Versus when I list a home, people are looking at it and they're adding 12% because they know that when it's listed with a realtor, it's going to sell for above asking. Versus when it's listed with an owner, you're expecting you're going to be able to get a deal on it. Same thing with the diamond, right? Dennis, if I told you, hey, Dennis, do you want to buy this diamond? I picked it up at the store. It's 4 carats, you know, I'll sell it to you for $25,000. You're gonna be like,
I'll say, look at this diamond.
right. Ooh, you're gonna be like, no, if I'm gonna buy a diamond in the back alley, I'm gonna expect to pay back alley prices, right? I'm not gonna, and this is true, and people know this to be true, is that whenever a salesperson is involved, they're gonna pay a premium. Guys, I just took a $2.3 million listing in Orinda at 7%. 7%. Why? Because my value to the sellers was, hey, for an extra 1% surcharge, you don't have to think about anything. You don't have to worry about paying and ordering for the inspections. You don't have to worry about getting the handyman. You don't have to worry about any of that. Mind you, this is something I would do for most of my other clients. I honestly just got tired of doing it for the same amount of price. So I was just like, let's see if people go for it. And guess what? People are going for it. It's like I gave myself a $25,000 raise. Mind you, I'm going to end up spending maybe $5,000 and a little bit more time, which is probably what I would have ended up spending anyways. But I'm giving myself a raise. And the way I'm painting it is, it's hassle-free. Now you don't have to do it. Let me do it. And mind, guys, this is stuff that we would all do anyways, right?
Pablo,
and guess what?
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, Josh. One last thing. And if they're a real pain in the butt, charge them 2%. And I'm serious about that. I am serious about that. I have some sellers who have been getting ready to get on the market, and I'm getting ready to tell them that okay, it's going to be 8% now. Like every month that you guys wait from this point on, we're just adding 1% to like my surcharge because this is ridiculous.
Is there, and this might be Renee as well, like liability issues for you taking on like getting inspections, doing stuff that, you know, like say the like, oh, something goes wrong, and like, oh, the inspector that you chose, that you presented, you know, wasn't up to snuff. Is that an issue here?
Yes, and I always give them options of like, hey, here's the 3 people that I work with, and it's literally like a checklist. So like you're
Yeah,
picking
okay.
who you choose, and then I just go out and I just order it and I just get it done.
Yeah. And there was
So
another
at the
attack on your 7%. This guy that I heard of did in his presentation, he had 3 options. You can choose 5, 6, or 7%. And most people just out of default always went, well, I don't want to be cheap and I don't want to overpay, so I'm going to choose 6.
Yeah, and get creative, right? So when people ask you, oh, so what's your commission? Don't jump to like start reducing your commission, which is where most new agents want to go. It's like, oh, okay, 5%, that's a lot of money. 5% of 2 million, that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money. You know what's more money? 7%. Especially because on the listing side, you get to keep it. Go ahead, Dennis.
So is it literally just like your confidence and when you give that answer to your fee?
Yeah, so I tell them it depends,
Mm.
right? So it really depends on the level of service that you're looking to get, because I've been doing this long enough to where I know no 2 situations, no 2 scenarios is the same.
Right.
So we do offer a flexible commission based on what you want. Now, our standard is 6%, where you get all the bells and whistles. We do the drone videos, the photography, all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And we make sure that we're putting your home at the top of the market as far as presenting it and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
We do have an additional 1% surcharge, where if you don't want to have to worry about ordering and paying for the inspections, organizing and getting the handyman and all this other stuff, for 1% extra, we just go ahead and get everything else ready for the house to sell. So we'll get the landscaper to come power wash. We'll do all of that stuff. We'll do the deep clean and all of these things, right? And again, these are all things that I was offering at 6% anyways. However, after a while, I was just like, man, I'm running myself a little ragged, and now I'm a project manager, and now I'm like doing all these other things. So I just decided, hey, if I'm gonna offer all these extra things, I might as well just offer a surcharge. Now, I do offer a 10% package, which is what we call the full concierge package, which I'll put my money into the construction and we'll do like renovations and things like that. I've had exactly 0 people ever take me up on it, because as soon as people see 10%, they're like, oh no, that 6 or 7 sounds real good.
Wow. So it's all about the framing. How do you
It's all about framing and value, right? Like if you know your value and you're able to speak to that value, people see it, right? And it goes back to having your stats, or knowing your stats. It's, hey, I know that National Association of Realtors, right? You can almost say this, and this is being recorded, so I should be careful with this, but you can almost say this, like the National Association of Realtors says, and then insert random fact, right? So National Association of Realtors says that all for sale by owners that actually end up selling on their own end up selling at 88% listed sales price, right? So can you afford to lose 12% on the value of your home? Or are you willing to lose 12% of equity in your home?
And another good one to throw in there is the time, right? Like, so on average, homes in our MLS sell at this rate, and this typical for sale by owner can take 2 to 3 times that long, if at all. How much are you losing in carrying costs on top of the 12%?
Yeah, and would you guys agree that real estate is a full-time job?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And selling a house can be a full-time job. So most people, when they're for sale by owners, they think, oh, it's easy. I just put a sign in the yard and somebody's going to come give me a bunch of money. And they don't know all the things that go behind it.
Just one more to add on that real quick, because one of the ones that I called back in Montana, I asked, why did you choose to sell? And he's like, well, by himself. He said, well, because it's possible. And I was like, okay, yeah, fair enough. And then I had, well, who's handling your documentation? Do you have somebody that's overseeing that? He's like, oh yeah, I have a lawyer. And I didn't have any, I kind of caught me off guard. I didn't have anything. So we had a lawyer in our office and I called her and I'm like, how do I handle this objection? And she's like, lawyers always get paid. Agent doesn't get paid unless the home sells. So if you get multiple offers and your lawyer is dealing with all this stuff, it's racking up. And if nothing happens and the sale falls through, he's still going to get his money. So think about it in those terms. That usually perks people up.
Wow.
Yeah. Would you rather hire somebody who is your fiduciary and doesn't make a penny until they help you, or would you rather have somebody who's billing you by the minute?
Wow.
All right, so moving into expired and withdrawn listings. So what are some of the main reasons in our market in these times that houses don't sell? Price? What else?
I'm still kind of getting familiar. I'd hazard a guess that maybe, a combination of, I think the price is probably a key one. But I also see a lack of effort. Terrible pictures, minimal marketing, or condition, price and condition ratio.
Yeah, so if you look on page 14 in the book, 3 big reasons why houses don't sell. You guys covered all 3 of them. So Dennis said overpriced, absolutely, right? We see it all the time. Houses sit and sit and sit because they're overpriced. And what happens on day 22 of an overpriced listing?
They reduce the price.
They either reduce the price or everybody starts wondering, what's wrong with that house? There's got to be something wrong with it, right? Reason number 2 and 3, Josh touched on, condition. And then the last one is it wasn't marketed well, right? So real estate isn't rocket science. Really what it is, it's a price war and a beauty contest, right? And when you put it like Dennis is like, oh, that's a good aha. So that's how I talk about it with sellers. I'm like, listen, it's not rocket science. It's a price war and a beauty contest. And we need to make sure that we're going out there and we're positioning ourselves to win both. So, this allows you to tell people that their houses are ugly. Just kidding, don't do that. Don't be rude, don't be disrespectful. But it does give you an opportunity to say, hey, we need to spruce up the curb appeal. And here's some things that have to happen. There's an agent in Alameda, California. Her name is Kate McCaffrey, if you guys want to look her up. She does a ton of business, super hyper local, only really works in Alameda and sometimes Oakland. What I love about her is her level of entry for all of her listings. So for any seller that sellers almost have to audition to work with her. Who wants that kind of business? I do, right? Where sellers are lining up and they're like, am I good enough for you to sell my house? Yes, that's the kind of business I want. And it's because she set such a high standard of the homes that she brings to market that she's like, that wall needs to be painted, this needs to be done, this needs to be done. And all of the houses that she brings to market are exceptional. There's not a little paint drop out of place, anything like that. And it's because of that reputation and because of that standard that now people are like, is our house good enough? What do we have to do to get our home sold by you? So price war, beauty contest, how are you positioning yourself in the market? Do not call lists. So
I have a quick question about that.
Yeah.
So I was just going through some land voice stuff with expireds, and so on some of the names they'll have multiple numbers, and 2 out of the 3 will be on the DNC. Are we still allowed to call that third one, or should we assume that because they've got at least 2 numbers on the DNC that if we call that other number, they're going to lose it?
So in the US, do not call lists are enforced by the FTC. So technically, you're not supposed to be calling anybody who is on the DNC.
Okay.
That said, people who have given you their information or have like entered some sort of a lead form, like a Facebook ad, something like that,
Yeah.
where they've given you information,
Yeah.
absolutely you can call them. That's all the legal stuff. I can tell you personally, and I don't condone this, this is just my personal experience, so grain of salt and at your own risk. I have never had any issues with the do not call list.
Right.
I call anyone and everyone, knowing full well that I can be slapped with a violation at any point in time. Yes, I know that, and I'm taking that risk. Reason being is I'm not a jerk on the phone.
Right.
Right. So I wouldn't give that advice to somebody who likes confrontation or likes to like be pushy on the phone, because then you're definitely going to get a lot of complaints. But I've been in real estate going into my 15th year now, and well, almost more than half my life. And I've called people, you know, I call between 100 to 300 people a week that I talk to every week, and I've never had any issues, just because I'm kind. I'm not a jerk on the phone. So don't call them. That's the legal advice. My personal, at your own risk advice is, if you are going to call them, don't give them a reason to complain.
Sure.
Limiting belief. So you can only succeed with for sale by owners and expired withdrawn listings by being aggressive and direct. I think I just busted that myth by saying be nice, right? So you can win for sale by owners and expired listings by coming from contribution, establishing trust, and staying in touch. So we'll get to it. But one of the charts that they'll show us is how the interests of real estate agents with for sale by owners and expireds goes down the longer those records are available. Meaning, if you're the first person to get in front of them, talk to them, and you're the person who consistently continues to stay in front of them, we know you can win. And we'll get to those methods here shortly. So let's talk about the opportunity. So ways to get for sale by owners and expired listings. So number one is obviously you go get the listing. Hey, I see you want to sell your house. Great, list it with me and I'll help you sell it for more. Well, that's not the only way to win business with a for sale by owner or even an expired. So one of the first things I do in having a conversation with a FSBO or an expired is I try to get them to move off the idea of selling their home or not being able to sell their home. And I put them on the idea of what's the next move, right? So that would look like, hey, Dennis, so, I totally understand you want to sell your home yourself. Let me ask you, when this home does sell, are you looking to stay in the local area or are you moving out of state?
I don't know how the prices are in California. I may just want to move to Las Vegas.
Oh, perfect. And what's important to you about moving to Vegas?
Well, just getting, more square footage for my money.
Absolutely. You can buy a small mansion for what for what you have here, right? And let me ask you, have you spoken to any agents out in Vegas yet, or has anyone connected you to anybody out there yet?
I have not.
Okay, listen, I know that you're just looking to sell your home yourself, and I totally respect that. Don't want to take that away from you. However, what I can do is I can connect you with a couple of my personal referrals in Vegas, and that way they can start showing you homes. So maybe you can find the right one and buy it, and then we can get this one sold. What do you think about that?
Well, that actually sounds good. That takes a lot of stress off me. I was just talking to my wife about how are we going to get this done.
Perfect. Yeah. So we offer a full relocation package, and we're happy to help you with that, Dennis. And even if it's just putting you in touch with somebody out there to get you going, that's what we're here to do.
All right, thanks. I appreciate that.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be the listing right then and there,
Right.
right? Get them to move off of what isn't working, and get them to move into, okay, what was the idea behind getting it on the market in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Something we can do right now, obviously we can't host open houses with COVID. What you can do is, if it's in your budget and you're smart about it, one thing you can offer to for sale by owners is a marketing packet. Hey, what I will do is I will get you my photographers, my videographers to come out and actually shoot your property for you, and let them get it to you at the same price they do it for me. And what we can do with that is I can then take that and we can do a whole virtual open house, so that way you're actually driving buyers into your home. Now, how does that sound?
Sounds awesome.
Right? So
Get in the door.
again, if it's in your budget and the house is beautiful and it's worth it, like, hey, I'll invest $1,000 to get my photographer, videographer out there and shoot a beautiful property for me. I don't necessarily need the listing, but now I have all this additional marketing material and beautiful photos that, guess what, belong to me. Or the other way you could do it is, hey, for $1,300, I can have my videographers and everything come out and do it, blah, blah, blah. Pay your videographers $1,000 and make a quick $300 and still have all of that stuff. You were going to say, Josh?
Have you had much success with that particular avenue?
So I personally haven't. There's a new agent on our team who has. His name is Zach. And that's one of the things that he does is he offers to do virtual open houses and do professional marketing for sale by owners. And now he's starting to get people calling him back and saying like, no, actually, yeah, your photos look way better than the ones I took on my iPhone. Like, how do we get access to that? And then help the seller write up business if the seller finds a buyer. So, hey, you know what? If you find the buyer, Mr. Seller, great. The least I could do is actually just prepare the documents, so that way you're, legally taken care of. At the end of the day, you do want somebody that's going to make sure that you're taken care of, right? So, sorry, I'm all skipping all around. Sorry, guys. Okay. So the direct approach with for sale by owners, expired listings, is letting them know, hey, my team and I work great with for sale by owners. We exclusively work with people who weren't able to get their home sold the first time. And we want to see what it takes to help you get your home sold. That's a direct approach. Indirect approach is, hey, Mr. Seller, Mr. For Sale by Owner, I was wondering, we do work with some buyers in the area. I was wondering if I'd be able to come by and preview the home on their behalf. I tend to prefer the direct approach because I like to let people know what I'm about and let them know, make a decision up front. And I also know that the DRE has been cracking down on I have a buyer remarks. So like, If you're claiming that you have a buyer and you don't actually have a buyer, you can get fined. You can lose your license. So don't do that. Now, if you're on a team like our team where we have 800 buyer leads, you can say something like that. Hey, we have a pool of buyers and your home may fit the criteria for one of them. I won't know until I actually see your home firsthand. So I'm not promising that any of my buyers will qualify for it. I'm not even promising that any of my buyers will be interested. I'm just saying I do work with buyers that are looking in the area, could potentially be interested. The line I prefer to use is, it's my job to know every house that's on the market, including the ones that are off the MLS. So when I see a new for sale by owner come on the market, I usually call, introduce myself, and schedule a time to come look at it so I can see if maybe I have somebody, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to sell your house, right? Great. Mindset. So we talked about value. Coming from contribution is really just 3 words for value. One thing I keep on my desk on my prospecting station is literally this question. And I have it on a note card, on a little 5x7 index card, and it just sits right in front of my computer as I'm dialing. What can I do to help you today? I mentioned that we don't need a whole lot of people to say yes to us for us to be highly successful in our price point, right? If we have 30 people say yes to us in a year, wow, some of us would be living like amazing lives. Then it's like, yeah, I want 30 transactions. That's 30 million. Ooh, that's yeah, just about $1 million in net. Ooh, I could do a lot with that. And we know that it's not about us, right? So when you take those 2 things and you combine them, hey, it's not about me, and I don't need to help everybody. It's just quality. I can focus on just the few rather than the many. It really allows you to then be in the moment and focus on, how can I help? What can I do for this person today? And it also kind of gets you off the hook in your head of feeling like, oh, I have to be all things to everyone, right? Because as a real estate agent, do you ever feel like, oh my God, I'm the escrow officer, I'm the transaction coordinator, I'm the therapist, I'm the landscaper, I'm the painter, I'm the handyman, I'm the driver, I'm the chauffeur, I'm like the maid, right? We wear a million different hats. And when we're starting out and getting our business going, it's really important that you're doing all of those things. And are you leveraging yourself? Are you getting to a point where you can start building value around you so that you can really focus on the people? Any questions so far?
No.
No. All right. Steps for working with for sale by owners. So number 1 is, duh, right? Everybody's rolling their eyes. Know what you're going to say. Prepare materials to give them. Prepare an 8x8 customized for FSBOs. Set your goals, find them, and organize information on each listing. So luckily, you guys are at a company called Keller Williams, where we have tons of scripts and tons of materials for you guys. So you guys have access to not just my scripts, not just Diana Kokoska scripts, but the Ignite scripts. There's I think specific scripts for this class, 36-12-3. And it really allows you to then cater and figure out, okay, what scripts do I want to use? Now, when you're looking at scripts and you're looking at what script should I use and what's the best script, if you're taking notes, write this down. There is no best script. There's just great questions. Right? when you get really, really good at your scripts is the moment where you start asking questions and pulling questions from maybe your expired script, from your for sale by owner script. You take an objection overturn from a commission, from your listing presentation. And you're incorporating all of these other things while still being able to be present in the moment. So practice, practice, practice. There's no shortcuts into learning the scripts. There's no shortcuts to getting the questions in your head. It's like, if you've ever wanted to learn how to play an instrument, or if you've ever learned how to play an instrument, there's no shortcuts, right? If you want to learn how to play the guitar, like I've always wanted to learn how to play the piano. I mentally, technically know how to play the piano. I cannot play the piano, right? I can't put the two hands together, right? So knowing how to do something and doing something are two very different things. So know what you're going to say to them. Prepare materials to give to them. Guys, don't overcomplicate it. If you're taking notes, agent.kw.com. You log in, you go into designs. Designs has for sale by owner stuff in there for you. Don't recreate the wheel. It's already in there for you. Set your goals. Again, agent.kw.com. You can set your goals for 2021. And then the goal is just finding them. So a couple places where you can find for sale by owners. Number one, Zillow, right? Zillow allows you to search for sale by owners. I recommend using services like Land Voice. There's another service called RedX.
If you want to just purchase a dialer, you can just use a dialer and use Mojo. Mojo dialer will go ahead and also pull expires and for sale by owners for you and upload them into a dialer automatically.
Your audio is pretty low.
Okay, can you guys hear me again?
Good now.
All right. Yay, technical issues. So all of these things are already created for you. Most of these things already live in command. It's just going in there and putting them into practice. Oh, hey, look, a for sale by owner 8x8. Look at that. So touch number one, call. Actually, you guys want touch number one? If you guys want to get really aggressive and get really good with for sale by owners, here's what you do. Every morning, wake up early. The key to this is you have to wake up early. If you're not an early riser, I'm sorry, this strategy is probably not going to work for you. But if you're an early riser, you like to check your stocks, whatever, this is a great strategy for you. For sale by owner, very first thing you do in the morning as you're getting ready, open up Zillow, open up Land Voice, open up whatever service gives you for sale by owner information. Any new for sale by owner, text them. 6 a.m.
Now, why do you say that?
Your text message is going to say, hey, it's Pablo. I see you decided to sell your home on your own. I just wanted to welcome you into this fast-paced world of real estate. As a fellow colleague, I just wanted to say welcome. If you need anything, let me know.
Because they wake up.
Guess what? Most of the phone calls and text messages that they're going to get after is going to be from who? Agents. And guess what? What happens as soon as we list the home on the market? Who calls us? Agents, right? Agents that want to see the house. Agents that have clients that want to see the house. All of this other stuff. So my goal is, hey, first touch. Welcome to the wild world of real estate. I see you've made I see you've made a career change, or just have fun with it. If you're not that bold, okay. So your first touch is actually going to be going out. Yes, even during COVID, go out. People are selling their houses for sale by owners. Get out there, put a mask on, ring the doorbell, stand back 6 feet. say, hey, my name's Pablo. I saw you listed your home for sale. I was wondering if I could preview it. I'm a real estate agent. If they're not there, great. I'm going to leave them with my for sale by owner packet.
I have a question.
Touches 2 and 3. Send them a quick postcard. Postcards cost 49 cents to send out. Again, guys, you shouldn't be overthinking this. These are all in command. Pick one, make it your go-to, and just create a smart plan. A letter, again, the letter doesn't have to be overly complicated. Just look up Keller Williams letterhead and just type in, hey, Mr. Seller, I see you're selling your house. I'm an agent here in the area. I wanted to see if there's anything I can do to help you. What's up, Dennis?
I was wondering, since it's a for sale by owner, would that technically not be canvassing? Well, because you're just going to check out the house.
Yeah, well, you're just doing your job.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I remember, I believe Mike was saying that we can't do canvassing during COVID right now.
No door knocking, no like mass, like neighborhood blasts or anything like that. But if you're going there directly, and I would even bring a PED form with me, right?
Okay.
So that way, even before you go into the house, say, hey, just to make sure I can come in, I got to get this signed. And guess what you're doing when you do that?
Setting that standard.
You're setting that standard and you're collecting their contact information.
Oh,
Because you
yeah.
need to DocuSign it,
Wow.
right? Thank you, COVID. Now I have a really easy way of collecting contact info. Any other
Question real quick.
Yeah.
So for like the Mojo dialer or like the rapid dialers, when someone on the receiving end sees or called like a lead, what number are they seeing?
Great question. Whatever number you want them to see.
So could it be your
whatever-
personal cell?
It can be your personal cell.
Would you recommend that?
No.
Okay.
So I actually have 3 phone numbers linked to my phone. Yay me. I don't recommend that either. What I do recommend is having one other business phone. So there's an app called Sideline. It costs $2.99 a month. It gives you a second phone number, voicemail, text, all of that good stuff. What I like about Sideline is that anybody can log into the app. So like if you want to go on vacation and hand off that phone number or route that phone number to somebody else, they can just download the app and log in as you. That's a great one. Or if you're even cheaper, you can just use a free service like Google Voice. And basically what you're doing is with Mojo is you just call from your main line, and as it's calling out, it's disguising it as the phone number that you want it to show up.
My train of thought is if they want to text you back or reply to you, how do you bridge that into, oh, here's my other phone number? Or do you know what I'm trying to get to?
Yeah, so I just use my Google number for all lead gen. Once somebody is actually like my client and that we're scheduling a meeting or something like that, or we're actually like we have an agreement signed, then I'm like, hey, by the way, I don't want you to have to say your name every time you're calling me. That's my Google line. Let me give you my iPhone or my iMessage number, right? But I don't want just random people, and I don't want random people calling my personal phone, and I also don't want to feel like I have to answer my line, my personal line, at the risk of like missing business, right? So what's nice about having a separate application that has a phone number is that it'll show you on your screen when the phone is ringing, if it's ringing on your primary line or if it's ringing on your business line, right? So if you're expecting a personal call and your business line rings, okay, you can maybe choose to forward that or call them back or whatever.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, because I was just confused on, because I was planning on getting everything set up and using RedX and then feeding it into like a dialer, but I was just confused as to that whole process of, oh, here's actually my real number. And I didn't want to feel like just using like a 1-800 number kind of, just make it feels less intimate for a sense, you know what I mean? Because it's like, oh, he was just using some dialer to get reached to me, and that's not really as valuable versus like, oh, that's my actual cell phone number that you have access to.
Yeah, so it depends on your level of comfort. If you don't mind giving people your personal number, you can totally use that and it'll show up through Mojo. Or if you want to use a specific just lead gen number like I do, so that way everybody gets routed back into the same things. Google Voice is also nice because if you have a VA or something like that, they can also log into that same Google Voice. So as you're sitting on Mojo and making your outbound calls, you can have your VA or someone monitoring your Google Voice, taking the inbound stuff.
Okay, so you can set up the Google Voice to use that number for the Mojo dialer?
Mm-hmm.
Questions, I'm just trying to get it figured out. Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. Looks like somebody came up in the chat. Virtual assistant. Yeah, VA is virtual assistant. So if you guys don't know Gene Rivers, Gene is amazing. He has sold over 5,600 houses in his career. I was in a class with him earlier today, and he's highly successful with for sale by owners. And here's some of the postcard subjects that he used to use on his 8x8s. So price. Have you priced it correctly, right? Where is your home in comparative to the rest of the market? Condition, 52 tips on getting your home ready to sell. Competition, here's the houses that are for sale in your neighborhood. Marketing, here's what our team does differently. Showing, with COVID and the holidays coming up, showing strategies can become really important, and it could be the little thing that makes you stand out versus your competition, is having a structure or a strategy for showings. So one of the things I do is, because we're not allowed to do open houses, we are only allowed to do scheduled showings, is I do all of my scheduled showings in a very condensed time frame. Still enough time frame for me to be able to go in between showings and disinfect the house because of all the things that we have to do now. However, I want to drive all the buyer traffic into the same area at the same time, because I want them to look around and see that, hey, there's a guy down the street with his agent wearing masks, and they're getting a sense for the neighborhood, and these guys are in the driveway, and we have to wait in line outside of the house while this other party is looking. And my whole goal is just to start driving anticipation, start driving some competition amongst the buyers in those scheduled showings. What's up, Dennis?
So I was wondering, how many people do you schedule for a showing when you're trying to condense that time and maximize it? Like, what's the time frame that you would spend during the showing, and how does that work?
I do 4 showings an hour.
Okay.
10-minute showings with 5 minutes in between.
Okay. All right. Wow.
And if you miss your showing, sorry.
Wow.
Like, COVID has made me, like, my second career is now a bouncer. Oh, do you have a PED form? No. Do you have an agent? No. Do you have an appointment? No. Can you come in? Nope. Sorry.
Wow.
So here's examples of postcards. Again, guys, all of this stuff is in command. Don't reinvent the wheel. It's all in there for you. Just steal it, recreate it, make it your own. Steps for working with for sale by owners. So what are some questions, statements, information, things of value, pieces of value that we could come up with for sale by owners? And we'll open it up to a little mastermind here.
Obviously, their motivation, you know, like why they chose to sell, like you alluded to earlier, where are they going next? You know, just really questions that can peel back those layers.
Yeah. I love this question and I hate this question at the same time. I love it because it's so effective. I hate it because until you practice it and embrace it, it feels really cheesy. And so on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being kind of like, testing the market, 10 being, I needed to move yesterday. How would you rate your motivation to move?
Yeah.
And if they give whatever answer they give you, if it's not 10, great. So what would it take for that 5 to become a 10? What would it take that 8 to become a 10? And like I said, that question's cheesy. It's like weird. It feels very salesy, at least to me in my head, my mindset. It's like, but it is so effective, you guys. And it really just helps to clarify the situation and give you a real insight of like, okay, so you say you're at a 3. Okay, I might want to end the conversation here, but let me take it a question further. So what would it take for that 3 to become a 10? Well, we would have to do some landscaping, and we would have to make sure that the next house that we're looking at is we can get. Okay, so if we do the landscaping and we find a house that you can move into next, that 3 would become a 10? Yeah. Okay, great. So all of a sudden, this person who I was like, oh my God, I'm never going to be able to help them, is much easier to work with than I thought. So great question. Anything else? Other ideas?
Just, explaining value, like you said earlier, I feel like that's another way to persuade or motivate sell by owner.
Yeah. And the empathy is a big thing, really trying to understand their situation, right? Like we talked about before with, yeah, I get it. Who doesn't want to make the most money possible, right? So in your mind, and really, I think understanding, kind of like reading the client, like certain people, you'll know right away, if they just start talking and, you're having a good conversation versus they're very direct and they're just, you're not getting through, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then being able to read those types and be able to tailor the conversation and direct it, because if you try to go too direct on somebody that's like just not having it, that wall is just, it's going to be impenetrable. Like you're done, however, if you're able to, that might be a sort of a longer term nurture over time, kind of like providing the information, seeing the value, because you gotta, it's the trust and confidence. They don't know you, you don't know them.
Yeah, so thank you for that, Josh. You brought up a couple of really good things that I wanted to touch on. So going back to, you're not alone in this, right? What a great line to build sympathy and empathy, and to show sympathy and empathy. Hey, you're not alone in this. So that's a great line. Are you guys familiar with the 3 F's?
No, which ones are you talking about?
Not those, Dennis. So the 3 F's are usually for objection overturns is when we use them. It's feel, felt, found.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes a little like, hey, Dennis, I totally understand how you feel. Actually, Renee felt the same way too. And what she found is that by working with me and my team and that 1% surcharge, no hassle solution, we were actually able to net her more money in less amount of time than she initially thought possible. Now, isn't that what you want? So I understand how you feel. So-and-so felt that same way too. And what we found is with blah, blah, blah solution, X, Y, and Z. So those are 2 great ways of building empathy, of building sympathy, and just letting the person on the other end know, I hear you. And not only I hear you, I'm right here with you. So we're not here like face to face. We're here side to side.
Mhm.
And it's very different, right? Very, very different energy. You think about it. When you get called to the principal's office or you're going out on a job interview, it's a very different energy when you're sitting across the desk than when you're on a road trip with somebody and you guys are sitting side by side.
Right.
Because one tells you, hey, I'm on your side. The other one tells you confrontation.
Mhm.
Any other questions on this? Any other good questions you guys came up with?
I just want to ask for yourself, where have you seen the most success with the for sale by owners? Was it like the 6 a.m. text message that got you in front of them, or was it the 8x8, or what avenue have you seen the most success come from?
Awesome. Thank you so much for asking that question. It's actually none of these, and it's actually not in any of your materials. And if you guys want it, I'll go ahead and I'll give it to you right now because it's really not complicated.
Yes.
We call it the for sale by owner calendar.
Mm.
So the for sale by owner calendar is exactly that. And I'm going to go get in front of, physically in front of. So I'm going to go to their door, ring their doorbell, one for sale by owner a week. And guess what? In week 2, I'm visiting 2 for sale by owners. Week 3, now I have 3 for sale by owners I'm following up with. And what we have found is if you're doing a combination of physically showing up by combining it with a call and a text, or a call or an email and a text every single week, we have our agents taking on average 10% of the for sale by owners that they have. So, you know, if you're looking to do a for sale by owner a week, you're looking at 50 for sale by owners. You're looking at 5 for sale by owners in the next year, right? Just using this one simple strategy.
Mhm.
The other one we use is just the weekly drip, and it's super simple. We call it follow-up Wednesdays. Again, one of the steps in 7 steps to 10 listings a month. And that script is 3 questions. Question number 1, have you had the good fortune of selling your home? Hey, LM, this is Pablo calling. Have you had the good fortune of selling your home? Great. Do you still have my contact information? Great. Oh no, I'm blanking on the 3rd question. Oh, and how much longer until you decide that I should come over and interview for the position of selling your home?
Wow. How long you gonna wait?
And most of that is like voicemails, right? So like week 1, they might answer your text, but like week 2, they're overwhelmed by all the agents that are calling them.
Right.
And you just want to be the guy who stands out. So, hey, Dennis, hey, it's Wednesday. Like always, it's Pablo calling. Just calling, checking in to see, have you had the good fortune of selling your home? Do you still have my contact information? And hey, just checking in, how long are you willing to wait before you hire me for the job of selling your home? And one of our area directors, Charlie Kimberly, just actually in our meeting this morning, 12 weeks, no response from a for sale by owner. 0. Not even like a text back, nothing.
Yeah.
Texted him this morning saying, hey, Charlie, sorry, I've been swamped with everything. Can you come list my house?
Wow.
From a weekly text message.
Wow.
Literally, like what I'm telling you guys is it's just the consistency.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the consistency. Okay, so let's jump into working with expired listings since we're starting to get towards the end of our time together. Again, guys, don't overcomplicate it. Know what you're going to say. The materials that you need are already inside of Command, so you don't need to go ahead and recreate the wheel. As we talked about, if you are using a service like LandVoice, RedX, most of those services do scrub for the do not call list. If you decide that you are going to call people into do not call list, do so at your own risk, or just don't do it. And then here's an example of the expired 8x8. So the for sale by owner board that we talked about, you can also turn it into an expired board where you visit one expired every week. And it looks like this. So day one, you call them or you hand deliver the expired packet. Day two, you make the call. Day three, send a postcard. Day four, make a call. Day five, marketing statistics. 6, make a call. And guys, all of these things can really be built out inside of Command. And it can actually be automated for you aside from making the calls. It'll remind you to make the calls, it just won't do the calls for you. Because again, if you're trying to get in shape, you can watch people do push-ups or you could do push-ups. One of them is going to get you in shape. It's not watching people do push-ups, trust me. I tried. Oh, I tried. Okay, so questions on anything we talked about, any of the systems I use, any of the systems my team uses. I'm going to stop the screen share so I can see all of you guys.
So I just had a question. You talked about this earlier, right? That you tend to see a lot more expireds happening in the shifting market. So then obviously the question is, okay, if we're shifting from, you know, a seller's market to a buyer's market or more balanced, you know, what does that conversation look like when you're trying to tell me you're going to get that house sold for the most amount of money in the least amount of time when there's a lot more competition happening?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So this is something we saw back in 2006, 2007, 2008, right? Where homes were expiring left, right, and center, and prices were continuing to drop. So the conversation that we got really great at is, hey, so Josh, have you ever tried chasing a ball downhill?
Oh yeah.
So what happens when you're chasing a ball downhill?
Ball wins or you trip and fall.
Ball wins or you trip and fall. And as long as you're running behind the ball, you're never going to catch up to it. Right? So our goal, again, this is going into a shifting market once prices are going down.
Yeah.
Our goal is to make sure that we're not running behind the ball, which is really the equity in your home.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So we got to price the home right. And right 6 months ago may have been here, but right in today's market is here.
Mm-hmm.
And Josh, what I'm really scared of is that it might be here in another 3 months if we're not careful. And what I would hate is for the market to be here and for you to be left holding the bag.
Mm-hmm.
So let's do the right thing. Let's price the home here. I know you want to list it here, but let's price the home here. And let's let either the price of the home come up to meet the market or let the market come down to meet the price of the home.
Right. Sounds good. Where do I sign?
Awesome.
Right? Because guys, here's the thing is, and I give you guys all permission, is like, you guys are not responsible for the market.
Mm-hmm.
I bless you. You guys don't need to carry that guilt.
Mm-hmm.
You guys don't need to carry that responsibility. We're just messengers. We're just interpreters of the market. So I can tell you to my best ability of what I feel is going on in the market, and what I can what is realistic for you. But ultimately, like, you know, COVID, for example, all of a sudden we were able to do business one day, and then the next day everything went.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you guys. 80% of the buyers I was working with and 80% of the pre-approvals I had just went whoop, right? I was like, darn it, Gary talked about, you know, preparing for the market I was going into. I knew I should have had more listings going into this.
Mm-hmm.
That also meant you can now focus on the 20%.
Exactly. Other questions? What else you guys got?
I don't know if you mind, but would it be okay if you did like a role play with how the FSBO calendar strategy would work? Like, I just come to your house, hey, Mr. Seller, I saw your listing, and it's for sale by owner. Do you need help with marketing, or do you want me to do a CMA for you? Like, you know what I mean? At the granular level, like, what exactly are you doing when you door knock at FSBO? Like, are they gonna just say, get off my property, I know what I'm doing, or it?
Sometimes. Yeah, no. Great question. Great question. So, first step, if you're following the for sale by owner calendar, is you're just going to get out there, right? If you guys are interested, yeah, if you guys are interested, I'll drop it in the chat. I'll have my VA send it out. So we have a for sale by owner packet, right? And this for sale by owner packet just gets edited to the person, and it's essentially we're just dropping their name in. And the packet is a bunch of information on how to get your home ready for sale. There's a little quiz in there that says, like, should you be the one selling your home? Like, are you a licensed professional? Do you know how to read contracts? Like, all of these little things. I use RPR, and I'll use RPR to build a CMA. So I'm putting together a nice, pretty packet of information to go out there with. When I show up, 80% of the time they're not there. I'll just leave the packet of information. I will call them while I'm there and say, hey, my name is Pablo. I'm actually here outside of your property. I saw that you decided to go ahead and sell it yourself. I wanted to go ahead and welcome you to the real estate community, and I left you a packet of information on your door. Take a few moments to review it when you get home. If you have any questions, I'm here to be a resource for you. Some of the other things you can offer inside of that packet, again, this is all stuff that's like lead with revenue. If you have the money, go do it. If you don't, just stick to the free stuff for now. But these are things that you can add as you progress and as you grow. And if this is something you want to build into your business. Land Voice has a call capture tool where they give you an 800 number and you can make riders, right? So one of the things I offer for sell by owners is, hey, are you tired of answering the phone? Probably, right? So how would you like to have an 800 number that has a pre-recorded message about all the features of the home? It captures their information, and you and I both get a text and email with their information.
Wow.
That way I can go ahead, I'll follow up with everybody so you don't have to do anything. And any serious buyers, I'll go ahead and bring them over to you. You only need one, right? Mr. Summer, you only need one. And I'll go ahead and I'll service every other buyer that comes in. So again, little things of value, right? And these are all just little things you can start adding over time. What you guys are now seeing is something that has like come together over 14 years of experience. It didn't start out this way. It started out with literally me showing up to people's houses with a business card, just being like, hi, my name is Pablo. Do you want to, I saw you put your house on the market. Can I go ahead and take a look at it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? The important thing is don't overthink it and just go out there and start having the conversations.
Mm-hmm.
Dennis, question?
Yes. You mentioned earlier that you would do a for sale by on a cold call. Are you still willing to do that?
Yeah, let me see if I can get someone to answer.
Nice.
Yeah, no, I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is. Don't worry.
Good.
That's why we love you, Pablo.
All right, so let's see here. Share screen, Mojo. Great, you guys should be able to see my screen. Okay.
Yep.
So you guys see, this is what I look at when I'm logged into my Mojo. It automatically drops in the expires for me from Land Voice, so you can see here. Sorry, I just want to skip a couple people that I haven't talked to. So now I'm just going to call in from my phone. And
using your touchtone phone, please enter your PIN number. Your PIN number can be found in the dialing box on your